channel. Today I'm continuing my series looking at the Letters of the Dark books by Chris Powell. So these are currently 8 volumes. They are expansion books that are for Shadowdark, and each one so far that I've looked at, so I've done reviews of the first 2, so please go and check those out, and they will give you a new class, an adventure, sort of maybe a hex crawl, some new rules for the game, and new monsters. So the first 2 really good. The third one, called Tales of the Fae, is based in, well, it's here in UK myths and legends, so it should automatically appeal to me. Does it carry on the same vein? Is it as good as the first 2? Before I get into that, I'm just going to show you where you can pick up your copy of the book, or anything else I should say, on Drive-Thru RPG. So here we have the Drive-Thru RPG link for Letters of the Dark Volume 3, so Tales of the Fae. You can buy currently in PDF or softback. I've got both. If or when you do buy this, please do use my affiliate link. It just helps me pay for these. So I bought the whole of the series, and I can then just put that money towards buying more books and cover the cost of these, and just help me to create more stuff for the channel. Okay, so this book comes in at 64 pages, so it's a little bit, I think it's in between the first 2. The first one was about 60, and the second one was about 75, so this is a little bit more of, let's say, concise book. It does include the maps for VTT, so there is a separate folder that comes alongside there, and this does give you the maps for the 2 castles that are included in the adventure. So what have we got in the book itself? So it is got a first level hex crawl, which is going to be between its own realm in the Fey realm. There is 2 interconnected dungeons, so both the maps are included for the dungeons, which technically castles, and that is a 3rd level adventure that kicks in. I'm not going to explain how that 3rd level adventure, what it is really, because there's a massive spoiler. If I tell you what's going on, it'll ruin the hex crawl, but I'll do it spoiler free as possible. The new class, so there's new class is the Trickster, and there's new ancestries here. So we've got the gnomes, we've got a forest gnome and a deep gnome. Details and rules which change the Fey realm. So there's some quite interesting things that are going to go on, and then a load of new monsters in. And then finally, we've got a load of new monsters at the back of the book. Okay, so before I get into the book, if you like this sort of thing, please do obviously like, share, subscribe to the channel. Really does help me grow. Right, so here we have the front cover. I said this for the first 2. Neither of these are those sort of Shadowdark type books, with the black background and the white images on. And it doesn't say anywhere it is for Shadowdark. So if I could give Chris maybe a hint or tip, it might be probably put something on here saying that it is for Shadowdark. Just going to move the book over slightly because I've got a gap there. Okay, right, let's just get into the book then. So here we have Letters from the Dark, Volume 3, Tales of the Fae, written by Chris Powell. So it's written and designed by him. There is an introductory poem in here, which I won't read out. And this is the bit that hints that it's designed for use with Shadowdark. Okay, so we've got a poem there. Please do read it yourself. The contents here say 60 pages, all hyperlinked, which always keeps me happy. I'll take you down through the introduction, contents, the character, game mastery, which are the new rules technically, the hex crawl adventure, which is combined into 2 different areas. Then we've got the Court of Trickery, which is your 3rd level adventure, and then the monsters at the back. So let's just take a look at the Trickster. This is an illusionist, fey prankster, and magical con artist. Gets to use the bow, club, crossbow, dagger, short bow, short sword, and staff. Only a D4 hit points, so you're going to be a little bit flimsy. But you do get Flabbergast. And when you roll for initiative, you can cast 1 spell before the first round starts, which can really change how a combat goes. Because on the spell list for this class, we've got things like Charm Person, Hold Person, Invisibility, Gaseous Form, Fly, Misty Step. So you can just move them over to your side. You can put them to sleep. You could polymorph into whatever you think is going to be useful. You've got things like Hold Monster, Shapeshift, I'll explain the spells in a minute, but that ability to just, that's going to really change how the combat's going to go. Just be able to sort of pop off one spell right at the start of the combat before anyone gets to do anything. You're also, because you're a bit of a trickster, you're going to have advantage on deception, impersonation, sleight of hand, and misdirection checks. And your spells here change randomly, which is why you've got 3 different spell lists. And they're going to change every time you have a long rest, or a rest technically. You're going to wake up in the morning, roll a d6, and it will determine what random spells you get. Spells are going to come off charisma, so it's going to be quite nice. You can really boost up your charisma and be really good at this prestige ability here. However, it all just sounds really good so far. The downside is every time you cast a spell, your chance of succeeding is going to increase by 1. So your critical goes from a 1 off your first cast, 2 off your second, 3 off your third cast, etc. So it's going to get easier for you to fail and lose that spell slot for the day. Well, not slot, but you know what I mean, the ability. As you level up, so here we got, so it's every morning you're going to roll a d6, which will give you, depending on your tier ranking, different spells. They are a fixed class. All your titles are here, and your talents as you go up levels are down here. Mishaps, it does give completely original mishaps, so you're not going to use the mishaps table from the core rulebook. We've got the tier 1 to 3 and 4 to 5 here, so some of it is quite good. So Leprechaun's Luck, you're going to get a luck token, so that's not too bad. However, roll a 1, friendly fire, target a random ally with the spell, is not going to make you very popular in here, so go on, discover them themselves. As you can imagine, having these different spells, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So what Chris has done here is create a unique character sheet for the trickster, which includes, so you would just then put down your threshold, so because your threshold is going to go up every time you cast spells for getting your critical fail, and it will just let you know which spells you've got during that day, which is quite good. I like the fact this has been included. We've then got the gnome ancestries. We've got 2 different gnomes here. We've got a deep gnome and a forest gnome. Deep gnomes are good at finding precious gems, and forest gnomes are good at speaking to animals that are cat size or smaller. And we've got a variety of names for gnomes, so it's always good to have a new ancestry thrown in. Lore and game mechanics. This is for the Fey realm. So the structure of the Fey realm is, so we've got 6 hours of daylight, 6 hours of night, so it's a 12-hour day. There is a map of the plane if we go on 2 pages here. Okay, so it's a flat Earth realm. So inhabitants. Technically, there are animals, well, not technically, but there are animals and other sort of nice fey creatures, but the world itself is divided into the court of the Seelie Fey and Unseelie Fey. Good Fey, bad Fey, technically. And then they've got the Archfey, Titania, and Archfey Morgana, which is the Unseelie one. So you've got plots being developed during the world. Again, it'll all come in and make sense when we get to the hex crawl. Magic, it's a completely magic realm, but it does have a horrible effect realistically on priests and wizards, who are then going to fail on a natural 1 or 2 whenever they're casting. But everyone else is going to be enjoying themselves in there. Access, you're going to use different portals to get to it. There are quirks as well, so on a daily basis, the longer you stay in here, there is chances you're going to get a quirk. We'll do the quirks now before we get into belief. So quirks is quite a fun little system. So each time a creature rests in the Fey realm, roll a d6. On a 1, they're going to develop a quirk, so you're just going to roll a d20, and you may grow rabbit ears. And these will stay for a period of time. And well, they're going to stay with you for the whole time you're there. And once you leave the realm, they will start to disappear over a period of time. So beliefs, there is some basic beliefs of deities in here, but the deities don't tend to really get involved in the Fey realm. And dangers, it is quite a dangerous place because there are 2 different, almost identical-ish worlds, which we'll show when we get there. One's now gone a little bit bad, and the other one's really bad, okay? For reasons that I can't explain because of the plot for the 3rd level adventure. Okay, so you're going to start off with Crisis in the Glens, which is a hex crawl for first level adventures. And so here's your standard hex crawl map. You're hopefully used to seeing these if you've been playing Shadowdark, so I don't need to explain it. You've got a lock in the middle, a swamp down here, a forest here. Probably should just explain the swamp lock. And then you've got the C and C location up in the top left-hand corner. And so we've got Ballyhob Glen, which is the nice, idyllic, think anywhere nice where you think of fey creatures being, that sort of place we got there. We've got some rumours which are going to help build the correct hex crawl encounter zones, because depending on what type of hex you're on will determine the encounter, and then the random encounters at the bottom. Okay, some of these will have asterisks on, so look at M here, so M109 has got an asterisk on here, and this basically down the bottom of the screen, it says, the bottom of the page or my screen, it says that the Fey realms, it's a portal to the other Fey realms. So I'm just going to scroll on a couple of pages to show you. So we've got this mirror realm here, so I think it's Elfine I'm going to go with, which is it's exactly the same but a lot darker and more sinister. Some of the key locations, so we've got like the castle here is the same on this map, and some of the portals are the same. So the portals in general, so the portal up here at 204 will take you to this portal here, which is 1604. There are some portals that don't take you backwards and forwards, okay? And as you can see, the lock, swamp, and sea and forest, they're in exactly the same locations. They're just called different things. So we've got two completely different worlds that are kind of linked, that look the same. One's not overly nice, another one's a lot more sinister. So when we say like not overly nice, it's got all these unique locations in here, but one of them's got the big white worm, which is one of the big sort of local, well, say local myths, sort of UK myths of the big worm under the world. We have got obviously the castle, and then the king in the castle, and as you can imagine, a Stonehenge type thing where there are druids, which is called Linnelhenge in here. Okay, different things going on in this map, including a dragon. We'll get to the other map. So this is, so it's identical. They will use the portals to sort of come in and out of the two different worlds. This is a lot harder, so you might want to try and stop them going in there initially till they probably get to second level. But this has got really cool things like a beanstalk. You climb up the beanstalk. At the top of the beanstalk there are cloud giants. Stop me if this sounds familiar. There is also a cockatrice that lays golden eggs. So yeah, it does pull on, and you've got a toy maker that is going to make a living puppet. So yeah, oh, there's also there's a rainbow in this one as well, isn't there, with a leprechaun at the end here. It will all sound familiar to players as they're going through, but it's a lot darker and it's a lot more sinister, the sort of second realm. And they're going to interact over the two places, and eventually they're going to want to make their way to the castle because of plot. Okay, now players, definitely you should go. GMs, probably stay here, that's absolutely fine. So I'm not really going to spoil it, and I'm going to skip on quite rapidly through the next bit, because what we've got here is plot, different factions and stuff that's going on, and then just the layouts for both the castles, which are technically dungeon crawls themselves. Okay, and both the castles are slightly different layouts and different sort of danger levels as well, with new stuff, with things going on. As I said, included, we do have the VTTs for the two castles. So I'll just quickly show them there. They are also available in black and white, so you can give them out to the players as well without any of the sort of the locations on. So that's your adventure. So I'm not spoiling it. It reads really well, reads really interesting. I love the fact it builds on what you're going on with the sort of random encounters, the rumours from the first two areas, to then have to go to the castle to speak to the king, and then plot happens. Okay. That's all I can really say, because I don't want to spoil it. I hate, one day I'll maybe do spoiling adventures of books, but I don't want to. Okay. New monsters. New monster sections are always really good. So we've got the Barghest, as you'd imagine. So these are based in UK myths. We've got the Dullahan, which should be familiar because it is the headless horseman here. That's the I think it's Irish myth more than English. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And then we've got this gigantic white worm, which is one of the like the big scary myths of here. Well, I say here, where I live, the UK. The Sealy Fae, these are all breaking down. So we've got the Arch Fae, Titania here. Her stats and a bit of detail about her. She is more covered at the start of the third section, and the nicer Fey creatures that the players can interact with. And then we got the Unseelie Fae here, all the way through like things like Banshees and the Cowpie and Tooth Fairies, and of course the really horrible, nasty little red caps, which I think people may remember them from was it 5th edition, where they used to jump. They used to do this jumping attack with their big boots. Finally, the book is going to close down, as all the other books do, with a teaser for the next volume. The next volume coming up after 3, quite correctly guessed, is volume 4, and this is Borderlands, and this is going to get back to basics. This book is entirely based on mercenaries and Highlands, so rules for Highland sellsword adventurers and expendable peasants. Nice, just send in the peasants to die. Operation Stand Behind the Peasants. Keep building, spend your riches on enhancements to build your home base. Okay, so you can buy and upgrade a base. And the Borderlands, lawless backcountry yearning to be explored and tamed. So if you want to see volume 4, obviously, again, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and so you can just see the rest of the series. What do I think of volume 3? I like it. I'm not really a fairy type person. You know, I go back to the World of Darkness, you know, vampire and werewolf and a little bit of mage were our thing. They did bring out a changeling book, and we bought it. You got to play things like trolls and fey folk and fairies, and we were all. I don't think out of all the ones, I think that's probably the least. It seemed to be the least talked about in the community. Not that there was like really the internet like that sort of thing in the 90s, but I like this. It's a really good, concise book. That trickster class is going to be so much fun. The randomness of the characters, I think, the spells is a brilliant idea. The ability to cast spells before combat is going to be incredibly interesting and useful, but you get to offset that. Oh, and obviously, you know, I'd like to say, doing it off your charisma bonus, you get advantage on all those charisma checks as well, but you've got that offset that there's a very good chance, well, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than most of the sort of caster classes, that you're not going to have any spells. They're going to disappear quite quickly. The adventure, the hex crawl's good. I love the fact it is 2 different worlds that are mostly identical. I say some of the locations are the same, but they're different when you get between the different worlds. The interactions and the encounters are different. Say the first world, the friendly, nice. Actually, I was kind of, when I was reading it, I don't know if you remember. Anyway, I'm going to get sidetracked. The Roger Rabbit movie from the late 80s, I think,
with Roger Rabbit.
Maybe early 90s, and that had that friendly, nice cartoon world, and then it had the evil, dark cartoon world, and the nice, friendly cartoon world was still kind of sinister because of plot. And I don't know whether that's inspired by that, but I very much had that in my head when I was reading this, and I don't know whether that's going to make it sound like a good or a bad thing, but I think it's a really good first level adventure. Then when you get to find out what's going on and it takes you into the third level adventure, the third level adventure is really good because it's your dungeon crawl, and both of them being linked, you're going to have to go and interact with both and fix the issues in the realm. So that's it. Do I recommend this? Yes, of course I do. I'm starting to wonder whether I'm going to recommend everything that Chris is doing, but I don't know. He's got to have one dud at least, hasn't he? So that's my review of Tales of the Fae, which is Letters of the Dark Volume 3 by Chris Powell. So it's an expansion for Shadowdark. If you've enjoyed this video, and well, please obviously like, share, subscribe to the channel. You know what to do. If you are going to buy this or anything on Drive-Thru RPG, please do use my affiliate link, because, say, books like this, I'm paying for out of my own pocket, and it's nice to be able to then use that money to go and, you know, buy more things to create more videos. If you're still here, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.